Hello everyone, it's Fufu here, and today I'll be talking all about Pokemon Let's Go in light of some new discoveries that have been made recently. So some people from the UK Pokemon community got hands-on with Pokemon Let's Go, and they were able to confirm a few things that had been speculated so far, and we know a little bit more about the mechanics of the game. So it's been confirmed that there will be no held items in Pokemon Let's Go. And I want to talk about the effect that will have on battling. Some Pokemon really lean on using held items, they give some really good buffs. Other Pokemon don't need them so much to be good. So I'll be talking about the winners and losers, the Pokemon that will be fine without them, the Pokemon that might actually be better without any held items, and then the Pokemon that are going to be worse. So we'll look at that today, but I will be doing more videos about Pokemon Let's Go in the future. This one's about held items. We also know about abilities and also some other mechanics too, so I'll be covering them in future videos. I hope you guys enjoy this content. It's a little bit different to what I've been doing recently. I will be doing more of what I've been doing recently, but I just thought that I wanted to speculate a bit about Pokemon Let's Go. I'm really intrigued about these games and I want to know a bit more about how they're going to work, and I think you might too, so let's start this conversation. So first off, let's look at the winners, the Pokemon that could well be better for there not being any held items, which may seem a bit weird because held items obviously give everything good effects, they're useful, so to say that there are going to be winners may sound a bit weird, but actually there are definitely some Pokemon that benefit for there being no held items, and the first big group that I'm going to talk about are Mega Evolutions. These are confirmed to be in Pokemon Let's Go despite there being no held items, so they previously had to hold a Mega Stone to be able to Mega Evolve. They don't need to do that anymore, yet they can still Mega Evolve. And really, that was the only handicap previously, is that they had to hold this Mega Stone, they couldn't hold any other item. Everything else can hold a useful item that can buff them a little bit, whereas Mega Stones, the only buff you get is that you can go into your Mega Form. Now, because there won't be any held items, that's actually a real buff for Megas because they don't have to compete with other Pokemon with the held items. And actually previously, because their non-Mega Forms could hold items, sometimes their non-Mega Forms would be more powerful than the Mega Evolutions themselves. An example of this is a Choice Banded Aerodactyl going for Stone Edge would be more powerful than a Mega Aerodactyl. That's not the case anymore. There's actually no reason not to Mega Evolve your Pokemon. Previously you might want to use a different item on your Pokemon and so you don't want to Mega Evolve it, but now there is literally no reason. Mega Aerodactyl will always be stronger, faster and bulkier than normal Aerodactyl. So Megas are definitely winners here. You will always want to Mega your Pokemon if you can, and they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. The second big group that I want to consider are Walls, really bulky Pokemon. They will have to go without some of the useful defensive items like leftovers or healing berries, but that's a small price to pay to not have to worry about choice items, things like Choice Specs and Choice Band. These give a huge boost to offensive Pokemon's attacking stats, a 50% boost, which gives them real immediate power to break through walls. Without these items, wall breakers are going to have a much reduced damage output, so any walls with recovery can definitely tank more hits and stick around for a lot longer, and it will be much harder to take them down. The other side of not having choice items is they can't be tricked onto walls. Walls like to recover, they like to go for status moves and switch up their moves quite a lot. If you trick them a choice item, they will be locked in to one move. They won't be able to go for their healing move if they've gone for an attacking move, which makes them a lot easier to get rid of. But without hold items, none of this will be an issue. They will be able to tank hits easier because attacking Pokemon don't have that immediate power from the Choice Specs and Choice Band, and they don't have to worry about being tricked choice items. So walls will definitely benefit from this. The third group I want to also give a small mention to are special attackers in general, purely because of the removal of one item, the Assault Vest. Much like the Choice Band and the Choice Specs, this gives a 50% boost to a stat, but instead of an offensive stat, it's the special defense stat, which is a big boost to a defensive stat. So without the Assault Vest, all special attackers will benefit quite a lot. It just means that you'll have to rely more on specially defensive walls than specially defensive tanks, so your Pokemon will probably be a little bit more passive, and this will definitely help special attackers influence the tide of battle. The last consideration I want to make for the winners is actually the Draft League format. Now what this is you know which Pokemon your opponent's able to use before the battle, and you each try to counter team each other. And with that, hold items are super important in the movesets. and especially items like the super effective berries that reduce damage, so things like Sugar Berry, Yachi Berry, Charty Berry, etc. So your opponent, you go for like an Ice Beam against a Dragonite, they've got the Yachi Berry, Dragonite survives and then takes you out in return, which is not cool, it's a big surprise, and your tactic goes completely out the window. Without these super effective damage reducing berries, you'll be much more confident that your attacks will take out the opponent, or you'll know when you have to switch out because they just won't do the damage you need. So that means that offensive Pokemon really benefit here. They are much more confident in what they can and can't do. But a lot of YouTubers play this format and it's really entertaining to play but also to watch. And with all of these crazy items and ambush tactics, it makes for very exciting battles, and without those, it could mean that we actually lose out on how exciting those battles actually are. And on that note, let's look at some of the losers. Some of the Pokemon that really like to lean on their items currently, and without them, they're not going to be nearly as viable. First off, a huge group that I want to mention, and I'm really sad about this, is all unevolved Pokemon, because there will be no Eevee. Eevee is an item that currently boosts unevolved Pokemon's defensive stats by 50%, which is a really nice boost. It makes them really nice and bulky and means that they can stand up to their evolved friends, which is really cool, and it makes more and more Pokemon viable, and I love it. And it's not going to be there, so really now there is very little reason not to evolve your Pokemon. In battles, if you want to be competitive, you need to have fully evolved Pokemon. I think that that's kind of alright, but I would much prefer for unevolved Pokemon to be viable. Now, we don't know if there are going to be any changes to stats, for example, in the game. We've already seen that the partner Pikachu and partner Eevee in Pokemon Let's Go may well have buffed stats. And it will be interesting to see if maybe more unevolved Pokemon have slightly better stats so that they can be used in, like, if you just prefer to use them as opposed to their evolved counterparts. But I have a feeling that's not going to be the case. I think that's probably just going to be the partner Eevee and Pikachu, which is a real shame because I really like using unevolved Pokemon. I've already mentioned how offensive Pokemon that like to use choice items will be negatively affected, as well as Pokemon that like to use the Assault Vest. Another important item in Pokemon battles is the Focus Sash, and this will affect frail Pokemon that have a utility or an offensive role. So things like Jinx that might want to go for Lovely Kiss, or Alakazam that really likes to guarantee some powerful hits off, they will really miss the Focus Sash. Luckily for Alakazam, it does have that Mega Evolution, and Jinx might be able to function just without the Focus Sash, but it would really help them if they could have it. Next, I'm going to talk about some signature items. These are Pokemon specific items that will be missing from the game. They add a lot of flavour to the Pokemon, but they're not all so useful. So there are some that we won't miss so much. Chansey's Lucky Punch increases its critical hit rate, but Chansey is very weak and much better at being a wall than an offensive Pokemon, so we won't miss that too much. Farfetch'd Stick, again, it increases its critical hit chance, which is pretty nice for Farfetch'd because it's a bit more offensive. But really, I don't think it will miss that too much. It will probably appreciate leftovers being missing from the wall it's attacking. Pikachu has the Light Ball, which doubles both its attack and special attack, giving it a surprising damage output that most wall breakers would envy. But we've seen that partner Pikachu's stats have been buffed, so maybe the Light Ball is reflected and represented in partner Pikachu's buffed stats, and so we don't actually need the item anymore, and again, it might not be missed. But the one that we really will miss, or I will really miss specifically, I don't know if you guys care about this Pokemon, is Marowak's Thick Club. It's such a good item for Marowak. It doubles its attack stat, making it one of the most powerful Pokemon from Generation 1, with Megas included. It's so strong with the Thick Club. It's got really nice bulk stats to go along with that, so it can function as a really nice tank and offensive Pokemon there, Wall Breaker. It's so good with the Thick Club. And this is obviously going to affect a Alolan Marowak too, so 2 Pokemon affected with this one thing. It's really annoying. All I can hope is that maybe this item will be represented in the game. What I'm thinking is maybe there could be a side story where you get a key item that will then boost the attack stat of all the Marowaks that you find from then on. Or maybe Marowak's stats will be buffed just like Pikachu's, who knows? But I really hope that this isn't a change that we see, because Marowak will be much more passive without the Thick Club. The final thing I'm going to talk about in this video today is actually a move, not a Pokemon. That's the move Knockoff. Definitely going to be nerfed in this. In fact, it might not even be in the game because it's all about removing hold items from the opposing Pokemon, and what is the point in having such a move if hold items don't exist? When there are hold items in the game, it's amazing. It's actually ubiquitous. It's everywhere in the competitive game at the moment because it's quite powerful. When the opponent's holding an item, you get a 97.5 power dark type move, so it's pretty good, very good for dark types to use as a stab move and very good for fighting types to use as coverage, so Machamp is going to miss it, as well as some of the dark type Alolan forms, but they generally have other moves they can use instead. But along with its power, that secondary effect of removing the opponent's item is huge in competitive Pokemon at the moment, so seeing such a commonly used move completely vanish from the game is going to be really interesting, and it will be weird to see its effect on the metagame. I can't predict that at the moment, but it's just a big thing that I wanted to talk about in this video. But those are just the thoughts I had and the speculation that I wanted to go into in this video, all about there being no held items in the Let's Go games. If you think I've missed anything important, then please leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd be really interested to start this conversation and see what you guys are thinking. I will be doing something about the abilities in the future and maybe some other videos too, but that's going to be all for today. I've been Fufu, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.